this video will be about the mechanics of the equilibrium universe. It's a general overview. Okay. And welcome aboard. It's going to be short and sweet, and we'll get right to it. First thing I'd like to point out that some of our basic ideas are not really applicable when we're talking about physics. Very basic mathematical ideas just simply cannot be applied. The first one, an important one in my mind, is the Euclidean idea of the point. And I claim that it does not exist, that it is an abstraction. And the reasoning is because selecting any point, it would therefore occupy some amount of space and cease to be a point. Simple enough. Now, I ask the question immediately, why is G constant for all masses? And I give an answer, and my answer is that because all masses share some fundamental characteristic. Recent observations of our local observable universe show that the galaxies are receding away from us at ever faster rates, giving the impression of an expanding and accelerating universe. An expanding and accelerating universe. Redshift calculations show that the galaxies at great distances are in fact approaching the speed of light. The energy and force that is causing such acceleration is assumed to be gravitational. Okay, now this scenario yields a picture that's something like this. We have the universe as a whole, and we have galaxies expanding outward from our observation point at the center. Okay, and as they are approaching the ends of the universe, actually in this case approaching the speed of light, okay, they are reaching some type of barrier, some type of final destination. This picture reveals the norm of how gravity works. All mass is drawn, accelerated towards the most local Schwarzschild radius, whether within or without, and also towards all others. And I have a definition of mass elsewhere in the same series. All mass is drawn, accelerated towards the most local Schwarzschild radius, whether within or without, with time-like influences. This would predict a web-like shaping of the cosmos, which has been shown by astronomical observations. Now, my definition of mass is, or inertia, is the expression of an equilibrium that the mass or the particle retains within its dominion. Okay, for any mass, inertia is a measure of the amount of energy that is in wave-like resonant movement that is linked in equilibriums to the quantum plane, the Planck field. Simple enough. These accelerating galaxies are approaching the speed of light. They are also approaching the universal event horizon, which I have arrowed in blue, and I'd like to make something perfectly clear. Not one of these galaxies has any possibility of escaping our universal event horizon. We are all living within an extremely well-balanced black hole. But this leads us to a question, and the question is, what is attracting all of these galaxies, if not the matter that is within the event horizon that holds them? So, how is it that these mechanics of our universal black hole equilibrium work? Want to remember a few things? Okay. Number one, that these galaxies are approaching the speed of light, and Lorentz effects at the event horizon affect their baryonic matter, and they disintegrate, or rather reintegrate, into transcendent Planckian particles through the Lorentz effects. Also, each of these Planckian particles is its own transcendent black hole, which generates Birkenstein-Hawking gravitons, which each of them obeys Heisenberg principle and needs only one half of its total wavelength to achieve universal interaction. All baryonic observable matter is already made up of such dislocated gravitons as generated by these Planck particles. Before any particle reaches the speed of light, it has already transformed into a black hole. No particle reaches escape velocity. So spilling from the event horizon, we get a transcendent landscape or plane of these converted particulated galaxies. And these are the progenitors of the much talked about dark energy and dark matter. All of this while never leaving the universal event horizon, which is impossible. These progenitors, because of reattaining Planckian form, are once again excluded from detection in the de Broglie-based energy world. They become sort of like Bjorn following along with the dwarves, if you have any idea what I'm talking about. Thus, from inside a black hole, gravity pulls all things towards the event horizon. From outside a black hole, gravity pulls all things inward towards that same event horizon, and gravity is pulling that black hole as a whole to other event horizons. All of this activity is effectively excluded from the rest of reality. And I didn't say universe, because of a continuing, unique, and single self-generated solution, which as such only interacts with the Planckian graviton particle landscape, an internal transcendent interaction based on the event horizon interactions between particles and the universal event horizon. For all of this to occur and still make sense, we have to understand that there are two types of space, quantum space and pure empty space. Quantum space obeys de Broglie mechanics. Pure empty space has no characteristic whatsoever. This implies instantaneous transmission. So, our universal event horizon only appears to be a great collecting place for all these recreated Planck particles, which form is defined by Lorentzian Einsteinian mechanics and black hole dynamics. Yet we can say much more confidently that the whole mass of the universe implies a de Broglie radius 10 to the negative 97, and this value is strictly equivalent to the Schwarzschild radius of the graviton at 10 to the negative 97th. Thus, a great landscape is created within the greater event horizon. We note that the graviton energy divided by the equilibrium universe de Broglie radius is also equal to the Planck force divided by 2, which is necessary for the Einsteinian gravitational field mechanics. Without guessing at the current form of the universe, whether it's a perfect sphere or some other form, we have to remember at all times that our view of the whole story is a disadvantaged view, and that's because of our positioning in time-based quantum flux. Now, we want to also note that in black holes, the great majority of the mass is always maintained at the horizon. Thus, the galaxies are seen racing outward. The singular nature of the universe as an internal yet transcendent interaction becomes clear. The universe is a black hole, the mother of all black holes, in both pure and quantum space, and it forces Planck scale determinism to inform quantum mechanics as it creates its very components. Now, this universal interaction, as I describe here, very basically, is the whole and overall view of the mechanics of the equilibrium universe. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed this.